Hello everyone, welcome back to another Project Gladiator weekly overlook, and today I'll be covering the weather for the week of September 24th until October 1st. Let's start off with the jet stream pattern, and where we are expected to see some severe thunderstorm development for this week. I will be ending the animation right around here, which is Sunday of next week. So that this is going to be the time frame that we mainly focus on. So as for the beginning of the week, we can see that we do have the subtropical jet coming out of the Pacific Ocean, which is expected to trigger some severe thunderstorms across Texas and Oklahoma today. However, that's not really going to be the primary focus. You can check out our daily forecast. I do have a forecast out for that if you're concerned about some of the severe thunderstorms that we could see across Texas and Oklahoma for today. Check out the daily forecast if you are interested or concerned about that for today. However, as for this week, this subtropical jet after today is expected to weaken down significantly, not really lead to any more severe weather impacts across the southern United States after today. However, you can see that we are expected to have a low pressure system that is going to continue linger, is going to be left over from some of the storms that we had a couple days ago. This low pressure system is expected to linger with the shortwave trough attached to it, which could definitely lead to some severe thunderstorms and some rain showers into the Midwest, into the Ohio Valley as it does move southeastward into the Ohio Valley. This shortwave could definitely trigger some severe thunderstorms and some rain showers across the Midwest and into the Ohio Valley. However, a lot of these rain showers and severe thunderstorms shouldn't really lead to all that much of a significant impact. This severe thunderstorms and rain showers that come out of this are expected to be primarily more marginal. There is supposed to be more of a marginal risk from this. We aren't expected to see all that much of a strong impact come out of this. However, as for our day 3 outlook, we are definitely expected to have at least a marginal threat for the Midwest, for Illinois, Missouri, and Iowa, and that is going to be on Tuesday of this week. You can expect some severe thunderstorms from the shortwave trough across Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri by Tuesday, as well as we also have this marginal threat due to some lee troughing across New Mexico and western Texas. Speaking of that, actually, we are expected to have this trough in the Pacific Northwest. If we focus on this trough isn't really expected to do all that much in terms of severe weather development. This trough is fairly strong, and it is going to lead to some rain showers across the Pacific Northwest, including Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Minnesota, possibly North Carolina, or North Dakota and South Dakota, Wyoming, and maybe parts of northern Nevada, northern California, and parts of Utah. We are expected to see some rain showers develop out of this. However, because of the rough terrain out here, we aren't expected to see all that much of strong severe thunderstorm threat, as well as we are expected to have fairly weak moisture because it is fairly desertous out here. So we aren't really expected to have really any moisture across the western United States to support all that much of a severe thunderstorm potential for the Pacific Northwest because of this trough, but we could definitely see some rain showers develop out of this. As for the path that this trough is going to take, this trough is expected to continue its progression eastward and even dip down into some of the southern western United States regions into California and Nevada, and then kind of linger across the western United States. However, the trough advection in the exit region for this trough is expected to focus the threat of severe thunderstorms across the high plains into some of the eastern Rockies. We could definitely see some severe thunderstorm development out across the western side or the eastern side of this trough because of some lee troughing. Lee troughing is whenever the mountains to the west in the Rockies, a lot of the lower level winds are blocked by the Rockies. However, the mid-level and the upper-level winds are still able to get across the mountains to the west, which does lead to a area of low pressure on the leeward side of these mountains, which is going to lead to some severe thunderstorm development on the leeward side of these mountains, specifically into Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, possibly parts of Nebraska, Kansas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, and western Texas. That's going to be the primary focus as for severe thunderstorms for today. Except for that trough that's going to be across the Midwest. However, the main impacts from this trough is expected to be mostly towards the end of this week, mainly anywhere from the second half of this week, anywhere from Thursday into Sunday. We could definitely see the majority of impacts come out of this trough towards the end of this week. However, some weaker mid-level flow, we could definitely see some fairly weak lead troughing back towards western Texas and eastern New Mexico. Some models are indicating that we could have some overall weaker severe thunderstorms across eastern New Mexico and western Texas due to some weaker lead troughing. Again, a lot of these thunderstorms for the early half of this week across the high plains are going to be fairly weak. However, as for confirmation for that, we do have a, I drew that circle very weirdly. We do have a marginal threat for the day 3 outlook for the high plains for New Mexico and western Texas. So we are definitely expected to see some weak thunderstorm development. I don't think that this is going to be upgraded, as overall the trough is going to be mostly vecting off to the north. So we aren't really expected to see all that much of a strong threat from this. I think it is going to stay mostly around a marginal, possibly get up to a high risk, but I think it's going to stay mostly around a marginal risk by Tuesday. So do keep that in mind. We are expected to see some thunderstorm development across the high plains. However, overall thunderstorm risk is going to be fairly low, but definitely possible. And again, we are expected to see the majority of our impacts from this trough happen towards the end of the week. But we could definitely see some thunderstorms for the high plains. That is going to be the primary focus for today's weekly overlook. And a lot of the forecasts that come out this week are going to be mainly focusing on the high plains. But again, we could also see some additional thunderstorms from the short wave that is going to continue to linger across the Midwest and Ohio River Valley. We could definitely see some additional severe thunderstorm threat come out of this as well. Taking a look at our dew points, focusing on where our instability is going to be for the Central Plains, mainly focusing on the trough that is going to advect across the Rockies and into the high plains. You can see that we are expected to have some strong southerly pull out of the Gulf of Mexico, which is going to lead to a lot of building moisture across the Central Plains. This is going to definitely lead to ample instability and ample moisture to definitely support our severe thunderstorms across the Central Plains, especially with the lead troughing that we're expected to have. And you can see that on some days we are expected to have a little bit of aid from the trough out into in the Rockies. That is going to push a lot on our moisture and lead to a little bit of some dry line development across the high plains, which is definitely going to aid in severe thunderstorm development. So we are expected to have quite a bit of moisture across the Central Plains to definitely allow for instability to build across the Central Plains and fuel our severe thunderstorms towards the end of the week and some weaker severe thunderstorms towards the beginning of the week. However, we are also expected to see some dry lines develop across the Central Plains because of the trough out in the Rocky Mountains, pushing on a lot of the moisture, leading to some dry line development, which should aid in severe weather development. So we are definitely expected to have ample moisture and ample instability to definitely support and fuel our severe thunderstorms across the Central Plains. Taking a look at our temperatures, you can see off the bat we already have temperatures that are going to be reaching 100 and above across Texas. I did cover that in our daily forecast. We are definitely expected to see temperatures that could reach 100 and above across Texas. However, we are expected to have building heat across the Central Plains again. We are expected to have a little bit of a high pressure system before that trough moves in this week across the Central Plains, which is going to lead to building heat across the Central Plains and into the Midwest as well. We could definitely see temperatures well above average. Some models were indicating that we could see temperatures in 20 to 30 degrees above average across the Central Plains, which is going to be absolutely insane for this time of year. We are expected to have temperatures that are going to be reaching the widespread 90s across the Central Plains and the Midwest into parts of even the eastern United States and the Ohio River Valley. But again, we are definitely expected to have some fairly hot temperatures across the Central Plains. It could definitely feel like summer across the Central Plains, even though we are already in meteorological fall. So that is definitely something you want to watch out for if you live across the Central Plains. You could definitely see temperatures that are going to be well above average, and we could definitely see some heat-related impacts from this across the Central Plains. If you live across the Central Plains and you're going to be having any major long-term plans outside, definitely make sure you are staying hydrated and watching out out for any heat-related illnesses such as heat stroke, because if we have temperatures that are going to be reaching 100 and above across the Central Plains, sometimes this week we may see temperatures that could reach 100 and above in some places across the Central Plains. It could be possible, but even if it isn't, in temperatures that could be reaching the mid 90s and upper 90s into temperatures of 100 and above, definitely make sure you are staying hydrated and watching out for any heat related illnesses such as heat stroke or heat exhaustion, as they could potentially be deadly and very impactful across the Central Plains if you have any plans outside. So definitely make sure you are taking the necessary precautions for that. If with this heat, if you live across the Central Plains and are planning on doing anything outside this week. And as for as for the Western United States, we are definitely expected to have a major temperature drop with the trough that we had this week and last week, and the trough that we are expected to have this week. We are definitely expected to have a major cool down across the Western United States. We are definitely expected to see temperatures that could be reaching the 50s, the 40s, and even into the 30s and 40s across vast majority of the Western United States. We are definitely expected to see temperatures that could be well below average across the Western United States. So definitely make sure you're watching out for that if you live anywhere across the Western United States, where we could see temperatures across the widespread below averages. And then again, we could also see temperatures that are going to be well into the above averages across the Central Plains. So definitely make sure you're watching out for that. Taking a look at our climatology outlooks, starting off with temperature, and then we'll move on to our precipitation outlooks, focusing on this very large area of above average temperatures. You can see that we are expected to have this area of dark red for the Midwest, which is going to indicate an 80% chance of temperatures being above normal. So we are definitely expected to have very hot temperatures across the Midwest, very much more so than what would typically be expected this time of year. And then we are expected to have this 80% chance, or the 70% chance that does extend into the rest of the Central Plains and Midwest. And then we also do have this vast area for above average temperatures for a vast majority of the eastern half of the United States. So definitely keep that in mind if you live in any of these areas. We are still expected to have some fairly hot temperatures, despite this being in, despite us already being in meteorological fall, where we are expected to start seeing some cool down. We are expected to still see summer-like temperatures across the vast majority of the Central Plains into some of the eastern United States as well. So definitely keep that in mind. And then let's focus on this area of below average temperatures. As I did mention, that trough that passed through last week, and then this trough that is expected to pass through this week, is expected to significantly lower temperatures across the Western United States. You see this large area of blue. Even this area of dark blue here does indicate a 60% chance of temperatures being below normal. So you guys are definitely expected to see more fall-like temperatures and even potentially more winter-like temperatures across the Western United States. So definitely keep that in mind if you live across the Western United States. We are expected to see a major cool down across the Western United States. So definitely keep that in mind. Taking a look at our precipitation climatology outlooks, focusing on the area for above average chance of precipitation first, and then we'll move on to our area of below average chance for precipitation. You can see that we are expected to have this area of deep green, which is going to indicate a 50% chance or higher of above average precipitation for Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. As I did mention, that trough is expected to advect across the northern United States for quite some time, leading to some rain showers across Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. So that is going to be the primary reason why we have this area for above average precipitation. But then we also have this area 40% chance that is going to dip down into the rest of the high plains as far south as western Texas, and then out into the Midwest. This is going to be because of this trough that is expected to sit across the Rocky Mountains and advect out into the Central Plains and High Plains, which is going to lead to some severe thunderstorms. So that is going to be the primary reason why we have this dipping down south region of 40% chance or higher of above average precipitation. But then we also have these few areas of below average precipitation. We have this one area in Arizona that I'm not going to touch on too much, but we also have this large area of below 40% chance of precipitation being below normal across the eastern United States. Again, that trough that is expected to move through is going to bring some rainfall and some severe thunderstorms. However, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to really bump up this outlook in any way. So we are expected to have overall a threat of below average precipitation across the eastern United States. So definitely keep that in mind. Now that I've told you the weather, please go down to the description and check out the socials for Project Gladiator and join the Discord for any updates on Project Gladiator. And if you live in any of the areas I covered for this week, please stay weather alert for the time being, and hopefully I will be able to see you guys tomorrow with another forecast.